Hi, I'm Natalie Cross. I'm a media entrepreneurship major and a huge Disney fan.
But let me teach you how to make some magic of your very own by creating a pivot chart in Excel. So first thing you want to do is enable macros on your Excel starter sheet. Type in your name, then Panther number, and hit which project you want to do, which obviously for us is pivot table. It brings up a separate worksheet that has a lot of data in it. Like you can scroll down and never see the end of it. It's showing you different items and their quantity and gross revenue for different countries. Let's turn this into something that makes a little more sense. Press insert and then pivot chart. Then click on the option that has both pivot chart and table. This creates a little pop-up menu. You want to include all of the information from this chart, which is columns A through K, and create a new worksheet to hold them. Click OK, and now the fun stuff really begins. It opens up a new worksheet, and this is where we're going to create our pivot table. You're going to start by clicking on the area that has pivot table selected. In it, it will pull up a menu on the right side of your screen. Drag retailer country to columns and product type to rows. This creates the table, which you can see taking shape on the left side of your screen. Also, this creates the X and Y axis for our pivot chart. Next, we're going to drag quantity to values and gross margin to values as well. With those changes updated, our table is now showing us the sum quantity of these various items and their sum gross margin for the countries in which they're produced. But let's say we wanted to counteract the skew of a high or low end brand. We would click on sum of quantity, value field settings, and change this to an average of that data. Next, we would click on number format, and because we know a quantity is going to be a number, we would click on that category. Because I want some coherency between my quantity and gross margin values, I will be using 2 decimal places like in a monetary format and the comma separators just to make it easier to read. Click OK for both of those pop-ups and see your changes take place. Then I'm going through the same process for gross margin. Value field settings, average, number format, number, 2 decimal places, comma separators, OK, and OK. But let's say I didn't want to look at every country that's listed in this table. Here's where filters come in handy. We can see our columns label include Australia, Austria, Belgium, and Brazil. Let's narrow that down a bit by clicking the button on the right side of the column label, then deselect select all and click on both Denmark and Mexico. These are the 2 countries we're going to be looking at for this pivot chart activity. While we were making changes to our table, Excel was already creating a pivot chart for us, but we usually have to go back and fix a couple of settings. So let's scroll down to it and you can see how it is set up now. Next, go to our Insert tab menu and then click on the icon that has a line chart superimposed on a histogram. We are going to begin by creating our custom combination chart, and it should pull up a screen that looks like this with a lot of fun options to play with at the bottom. We want our graph to have an easy time comparing average quantity to average quantity, so we're going to check the secondary axis button for both of those. Now we have to check the chart type for each of those values. For the average quantity of Denmark, we're going to be doing a clustered column. For the average of the gross margin for Denmark, it is going to be a line, and that is going to hold true with Mexico, and it makes a very, very helpful comparison graph. With all of those settings in place and double checking so they look like the ones on the screen, press OK. And ta-da! We finally created our pivot chart. This easily compares the quantities that these countries are producing and the gross margin that they're selling them at. The trend lines for the gross revenue is almost overlapping for both countries, which means they're making about the same amount of revenue, only Denmark doesn't have to produce as much. You can see with the gray column, Mexico is consistently producing way more, but making the same amount of profit. It's a very interesting comparison, but the best part of pivot charts is that it makes it easier to add in some different countries and compare maybe Finland to Australia or something like that. But we're going to go ahead and rename the sheet to something like pivot table, just something to help you understand what's on that page, and you're done. So thank you so much for coming along with me on this magical journey. I hope you continue to excel at making pivot tables. Get it? Because we did it on Excel. It's a good joke. Okay, have a magical day. Bye, guys.